This video is going to be the wrap up of our whole trip to New York. We're going to give you the prices and all that stuff. The prices I usually give at the very end of the video, so please stay tuned for that. This trip, we have to thank Courtney for inspiring this trip, inspiring us to go, and giving us some funds to go. So this trip was sponsored in part by Courtney. So and I know a lot of you have said thank you to Courtney in the comments, and I appreciate you doing that, because really, if she had not, Courtney came to me and people were confused. So let me just clear this up right now. People were confused. How did this happen, and did she have expectations? I think that was the biggest thing. Well, they wondered, first of all, what company does Courtney work for? So they're thinking, oh, this is like a travel, yeah. I guess. I never even thought about you all getting confused about that. Courtney's a viewer. Courtney's a viewer. She loves the channel. She loves to see us go on vacation. She likes the travel vlogs. And so she thought, oh, I want to see them travel again somewhere, because we had gone to Florida and we did those videos in June. And she thought... Which were not really a vacation. It was a lifestyle visit. Right. And then last year we've gone on cruises. We've got a lot of vacation videos before. But Courtney wanted to see us go on vacation again. So what happened was she contacted me through Instagram. She's a viewer just like you all watching this video. She does not work for any specific company or anything like that. And she said, I would like to help pay for a trip for you all. And she said, would you like to visit Washington, D.C. or New York City? And out of those two choices, first of all, I'm glad she gave us a choice, because... And honestly, if you suggested, I think I'd rather go here, she probably would have been fine with it. But she did give me two choices. Yeah, I think she would have. She's very laid back. I think she would have been fine with wherever we chose. Yeah. So there was no expectation we would pick just from those two. But no, but she said, hey, would you like to visit either one of these? No. Which one would you want to visit? And out of those two choices, I said, I would love to visit New York. Mm-hmm. I would like to visit Washington, D.C. too. We've thought about New York before. But we've thought about New York before. So then the other question people had, and it's a very fair question, was, did Courtney have any expectations? Did she expect us to do certain things, eat at certain places, see certain sites? Did she make any special requests? Because you would think somebody that's giving you a lot of money to go on a trip, that they would expect something. And I even have seen people that go on vacation at like Disneyland or Disney World. They'll say, if you send us money to cover a certain place, we will go there and film it for you. Courtney didn't do that. Like a resort or something. And honestly, that's what made me feel comfortable doing this, accepting the money and doing this, is because she didn't have any expectations. Because if somebody came to me and said, I'll give you so much money, but you have to do this, you have to see this, we'd probably be less likely to do it. I would be less likely, because I would feel a lot of pressure. This was a no pressure trip, and that's what made it a lot of fun. So we will be telling you at the end of the video exactly how much money Courtney gave us, but she gave us a portion, and then we, you know, had to put in the rest. But it was enough to really get us going on this trip, and I appreciate it. And of course, Patreons and subscribers to, members on YouTube also, you know, we use that money for the channel too. Yes, so we use that money for the channel. Not necessarily for this vacation, but we use it for the channel. Well, when we go to places like Hershey's Chocolate World, like Techno Squid. Techno Squid is literally a member on Patreon, and he's a YouTube member. So he's giving us money each month on both of those platforms. So when he said, hey, you should go to Hershey's Chocolate World and do the Stuff Your Cup experience. Yeah. Well, number one, I appreciated him reminding me of that.
Because we would have wanted to do that anyway.
We wanted to, yeah, but I would have, I might have forgotten about that if he hadn't have brought it up. But it's also like, oh, I feel, I want to do this, and he's given us money. He has,
for years.
So he's basically already paid for this anyway. So absolutely I wanted to do this. But before we get into like New York itself, I want to, somebody asked me like, what do you do? Because I'm scared of heights, and this person was saying they're scared of heights. And so how do you get over that when you're in a plane? Well, I try to keep my mind busy. First of all, I don't dwell. I'm not a dweller. I don't dwell on things.
Or think about it the whole time.
No, I try to think about exactly the opposite to take my mind off of it. So I don't think when I'm in that plane of where I'm at, or what we're doing.
Try not to look out the window any more than you have to.
No, I look out the window briefly while we're heading out, and then that's it. Don't want to see.
Occasionally you'll look out and look at the clouds and stuff, but it doesn't seem to bother you.
Not too bad. No, it really doesn't once we're up there and we're settled and all that. But I really try to keep my mind off of it. This time we only had one plane with a TV. So
yeah, because normally Tammy would watch like a TV show. You would start a TV show before we even take off.
Yes, just to get my mind, like I'm already like settled. I know what I'm going to watch and all that. We did have, what was it called? Amazon Music on our phone. And we were paying so much a month for that. And it was just an extra expense. So months and months ago, we canceled it. So I don't have any of that music or anything on my phone. And so I thought, I need to have something to do on this trip if we didn't have TVs. So we went to Dollar Tree. And Dollar Tree, for $1.25, they have all kinds of these books.
Yeah, Sudoku.
Different ones like crossword puzzles, all kinds of stuff. They have coloring books, crayons. If you like to color, if you like to do all that stuff, which
just
I like.
Something to keep your mind off. What's going on?
I did this word search, and it was nice because if you have somebody, just me and Kevin, we could do it together, but usually Ashley was sitting next to me. She actually took the book while in a later flight when I was watching a movie, and she actually did this. And there's so many in here. I mean, I'm not even like haven't gotten nowhere in it hardly. But this was great for keeping my mind occupied. So I would, and you're spending $1.25. So I would recommend that.
Yeah, or book. See, I read or something like that. But I don't care about going in an airplane. That's never bothered me anyway.
No, and usually I'm fine.
The first time you ever flew, you were really nervous.
I was
after
nervous.
that, you kind of aren't as bad.
Yeah, I just try not to think about it. I like I said, I don't dwell on
I think that
things.
first trip, the very first flight, you did think about it.
Yes.
She would tense up and squeeze and
you know what though, even the night before, when I'm going to bed, my mind wants to think I'm going to be in a plane tomorrow, and I think nope, going to shut it down and we're going to think about something else.
It's hard to do, but
and I just try to think about something else.
Yeah.
I'm good about that with lots of things. I just put it out of my mind. Any unpleasantries I put out of my mind, and I don't dwell on it. But I'm a lot happier person that way too. But the first thing we did when we found out that we were going to go on this trip, we booked our hotel first. And once we got the hotel booked, the name of the hotel, Hotel Edison, and it is right in the middle of the
Times Square
theater.
Yeah, theater district.
The theater district in Times Square. And so we wanted to be somewhere that's central to everywhere. And once we got that, then we booked the airline tickets. And then
I usually make sure the hotel's got a date.
Yes.
And then we can go. And then usually the airline will have something.
Yes.
One airline somewhere is going to have something to get you there.
Right.
So,
if you've got your hotel booked first.
Yeah. So I usually do hotel because that's the one that's mostly the least flexible.
And so then after we got the hotel booked, we went ahead and booked 2 shows. So those 2.
Yeah, we just looked to see what was playing during the time we were going to be there, and found some interesting things and booked them.
And then once we planned those 2 shows, we basically were like, okay, what do we want to do while we're there?
Here's the other days we've got free. What do we want to do?
What are we going to do? And then we look at the restaurants and stuff in that area, or things to do in that area. Because
or we know we're going to be down here for lunch. What do we want to eat down here?
Yes. So you want to plan, and you could have a couple of places in mind that look good to you in case you can't go to one, it's full or something. Then you can go to another place that looked good to you.
So, look at pictures and reviews on Google. That's the best advice I can give you. And we would have avoided a couple of.
Yes, I do want to say, I do not follow food people on Instagram, and I do not get food recommendations on Instagram.
Right.
I never get recommendations for restaurants or trendy food. So a couple of the places we went to, somebody was like, oh, you shouldn't have gone by Instagram pictures. I didn't, because I don't get stuff like that on my Instagram. I have no food on my recommended channels on Instagram at all.
We can talk about that place when we get there, because I'm the one that chose it.
But I think a lot of people do look for Instagram. I don't believe anything I see on Instagram. I literally believe no food at all, because a lot of the
filter age.
Well, and a lot of the food has been given to people for free, and they're just showing a picture.
I never tried it.
But they don't try it, or I feel like even if they do try it, they're nicer than they should be, because they did get it for free, and they're not being honest with you. So I don't believe those reviews that I see on Instagram anyway. So I want to throw that out there immediately. But somebody asked me, I'm going to get this out of the way because it'll bore some people. Somebody asked me, what was your step count each day? Because
you looked it up.
I looked it up. So
that's a good thing about like a Fitbit or something. You can look it up in the app and see what it was.
Yes. So the first day was a travel day. I walked, my goal each day is 20,000 steps. So I like to get 20,000 steps.
My goal is 20 steps.
You think he's joking. It would be interesting to see how many you walk. I wouldn't even want to know. I bet you it's 500 if I had to guess.
Walk to the bathroom more than that.
I bet you it's 500. You do not walk a lot. But
I probably should, but I don't.
Okay, so the first day was a travel day. I got 23,124, and that's probably from the airport.
Yeah, we tend to, when we get there early, we tend to walk.
I also walked a little extra without you all. I remember you sitting and me saying, I'm going to go. Remember, I was looking for those chips.
Yeah, and you walked down.
And I walked, but I'm also thinking, I want to get some steps that I can leave them sitting while I'm getting some steps. Yep. The next day, the first real full day in New York, I got 20,108 steps. The next day, when we went to see two of the shows we got, we saw them in one day. The day that we saw 2 shows in one day, I did not get 20,000 steps. I got 15,811. And that's because we were sitting through 2 shows.
Yeah, those are 2 hours apiece.
Yeah. The next day, I got 21,944. The next day, I got 20,012. So I'm sure.
You were probably walking that out in the hotel room at the end of the night.
Yes, I was probably going back and forth just to get my. Yes. Yeah. And then the day home, the travel day home, I got 20,514.
Which that's impressive.
Well, I can remember we got home. And of course we're unpacking and stuff like that, but whatever I wouldn't have gotten at home, I don't care how tired I am, I'm going to make myself get that 20,000. So there was only one day that I didn't get it, and it's because we went to the 2 shows. So somebody wanted to know, how was the weather compared to Kentucky? Was it humid?
I don't think it was any different than here. It was just a hot time of the month.
Year.
I mean, I think that was record highs everywhere that week.
Yes.
I mean, it would have been hot here too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we got a lot of rain here though, and it kept it a little cooler. In New York, we got only rain one day.
I remember Andrew saying, Boy, you all are missing it today because we're having a fall day.
Yeah, he said it was really nice.
He said it feels wonderful out here. He said the kids were outside playing, and he said it feels like fall.
And I think it was like 90 something.
Yeah,
in New York.
It was really. But you know what?
But we have the same days here too, so it really wasn't any different. Really.
No, I don't think it was any different than Kentucky weather. For me, I personally would rather it be hot than rain.
Yeah, the rain keeps you from doing a lot.
Yes, I don't want it to rain, and we had excellent weather all week.
It sprinkled. It threatened to rain a little bit one day, and it sprinkled for like 10 seconds. I mean, it literally was nothing, and it went away. And then the day we traveled home in the taxi or the ride to the airport, it poured.
What you all don't know, and I don't think I've mentioned on that travel day home, it was so bad. Going back to the airport, it was raining so hard that our driver was just barely scooting down the road. And at one point, when we got towards the airport, we were in the right lane, and the left-hand lane had completely flooded, and people were having to get over in the right lane to get around.
They were doing construction in that area, so I guess there was just no good drainage. So it was heavy rain.
Yes. Like normally I would be having a panic attack, but the driver that we got,
he was very careful.
If we had the same driver on the way back that we had on the way to the city,
that aggressive,
I would have had a complete meltdown, and he would have seen tears.
Yeah.
But the guy on the way back was so terrified, so nervous, and he drove like I would have driven.
Yeah.
And so that's saying a lot.
I just think he was cautious. I don't think he was nervous, but he was very cautious.
Well, he was very cautious, and I would get him again because he was so careful. I would have liked to have had him into the city.
Yeah. I wonder if I wrote down that country. I mean the company.
The company on the it was that you talked about it. What company it was?
Did I? Okay, I mentioned it.
The video. You said we're gonna get this. During that last
as long
video.
As I mentioned, I didn't write it down, so I don't remember.
Yeah, during that last video, you said what service that was that.
As long as you know what car it is.
But Okay, then somebody. I'm just answering some questions from the vlog that came up. Somebody said, "Is an Uber cheaper than a taxi?"
From what I can tell, and there's no way unless you just actually did the same trip with both. From the airport, like I said, this is just from me studying and researching a little bit what other people have said. From the airport to driving in, there's a set fee for the taxis. The set fee is $75 as of the time we went. They can charge additional fees and stuff if there's excess traffic and stuff, so they can add a little bit of money to it, but it wasn't much. I've got the prices and stuff here. So they did add some money to the taxi just because of congestion, because it was really, really, really congested when we came from the airport to the hotel. But anyway, it's a set price. When I looked up Uber was going to be like don't hold me to this, don't quote me, but I'm thinking it was over $100. It was like $130 or something like that to go from the airport to our hotel. So it was definitely going to be more money to go Uber. Also, going back from the hotel to the airport, there's not a set price on the taxi. So the taxi price was going to be more expensive than getting a car service. And Uber was actually more expensive too. It was like $140 or something like that. So the car service ended up being a little bit cheaper. And it's scheduled. The taxis, the bad thing about the taxis is they're not necessarily more expensive, but they're more trouble. So you don't guarantee, if you book a taxi, unless you literally call them and say, I need a big taxi with a van, if you book it in the app, you might get a car, and that car shows up and you're ready to go, and the car shows up and there's not enough room for your luggage in that big car,
Right.
And so guess what they got to do? They got to call dispatch and say, hey, we need a bigger car, and they send the van. So you just got to be careful with booking on the app with the taxi, because you can't request what size you want. With a car service, you could actually request the size car you wanted. So anyway.
I'm trying to find the name of that the service, because it was called something.
I can find it.
And
you keep asking questions.
Okay, so what I want to say is But we never, Kevin is talking about specifically to and from the airport. We never had to take a taxi anywhere we went in New York. We never had to take an Uber anywhere we went. And I
mean, we could have, but there was just no reason.
There was no reason to. Also, it really surprised me the number of people that said, you never used the subway? You never got on the subway? Or when are you going to get on the subway? We didn't have to. I like to walk. I want, you heard, I like to get my steps.
Yep.
And so for me, walking.
Carmel.
That was who we got on the way back to the airport?
Huh?
Oh, okay. I thought it was called something else.
No,
anyway.
There's a couple of them I probably looked at.
There was absolutely no reason to have. Now, if you go to New York, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. If you,
for where we were going.
If you think you need to do that to get a New York experience, then by all means do that. I do not think I had to ride the subway to get a New York experience. I just don't. I don't feel that way.
We've ridden subways in London.
Yeah, in London
we've
done the tube. I mean, we've done that, and you know, it's the tube. It gets you from point A to point B. But if you feel like you need to do it, by all means, go for it. But I like to walk, and even when we walked to the Met, it was a long way that we walked, but it was very
straightforward, straight walk. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't need to take the
wasn't
subway
really
to get there.
The good thing about, from what I could tell, there's not a lot of hills up and down.
No.
It's pretty much all flat.
It's flat
for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, which is shocking.
Somebody told me that there is a toilet finder app. Not a question, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's not surprising.
That there's a toilet.
There should be one of those. There probably is one of those in London too.
I think it is
like public places that offer public restrooms.
Yes,
yeah.
I think that it is kind of short-sighted of these places to not have.
I can understand though.
I can too, but make me pay for it.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me buy something.
Just
buy
like
a drink or
no. Just I don't know. I don't mean a business.
You're saying just.
I mean a standalone toilet. Just like when we went to parts of when we were in the UK, you had to pay for it.
Those places were smaller, like little villages.
They were, but even in the villages, you would pay. It used to be, spend a penny.
But see, you're not thinking
more than that.
What they would do, what would happen in these public toilets is you would get a homeless person that would find enough money to get in there, would pay the money to open the door, and then would just live there.
Yeah, that's a problem. But
I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's truly.
I could
that's
go on a whole thing, but I won't.
I mean, we saw one
that.
homeless person that had taken over a whole bus stop. That was their house. I mean, if they had public restrooms like that, that's what would happen.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So you just got to think about it. They're dealing with 5 different layers of issues beyond just providing public restrooms.
Yes. we won't get into the penalties and all that, but there are things that could be done, but nobody wants to do it.
You know what though, I didn't see, I saw homeless there, but I didn't see like.
We did, there was one particular area where we saw lots of homeless every day.
But yeah, I mean there was definitely there, but I'm saying I've seen worse.
We did see that.
Yeah.
Would we ever go to Times Square on New Year's Eve?
No.
I would not either.
Not seeing the size of it now.
No.
It seems so much bigger on TV.
It's small.
It's not big.
No, it's a very small area.
It's smaller than like a baseball field.
And now that you're thinking about knowing that all those people are there.
Thousands upon thousands.
And how small it really is.
Yeah, watch it on TV.
There's no way. No, I would never.
Or get a hotel that, I'm sure you can find a hotel facing
You can. There's hotels right there that would face it.
Yeah, they probably charge you a premium for it, but you could get them.
You could get them. You would probably have to be booking them now, or they might already be booked. Or even last year. But yes, you better be booking now. Mm-hmm. But I would rather get a hotel room and watch it out the window than be in the midst of it.
Yeah, it would be a madhouse. I mean, just when they were doing the soccer or the football, when they were doing the stuff down there, they were rowdy. And it was kind of a madhouse down there even during that.
Yeah.
And that was an attempt of what New Year's Eve or dinner.
I did not mind that at all. If you,
I'm just saying that one area was really like everybody was compacted together, and there's a lot of
everybody was really happy, and they were in a good mood, and so it.
But take that and spread it from wall to wall in Times Square. That would be a little frightening.
Yeah. Somebody asked me a totally different subject. Somebody said, was there any place that you didn't get to go that you would have liked to? As far as like landmarks or stores or anything like that, we didn't get to Macy's, and I would have liked to have gone to Macy's.
We passed by near Macy's, but it wasn't.
We did not ever.
We didn't actually see Macy's.
I never saw Macy's.
Yeah, we did.
It was probably like everything else though, under a scram or something, or with the scaffolding. Or something. They're working on everything.
They were. I think if I'd intentionally said we want to go to my Macy's when we were coming back down, we could have diverted and made sure we were going that way. But by that time, I mean, we've been walking to 90-degree temperature all day long. It was just like, I think Ashley was ready to just sit down and get something to eat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're at that point.
Somebody said, did the hotel offer daily housekeeping? And if not, do they refresh the towels daily?
They did housekeeping every single day. And as a matter of fact, if you didn't want them to do that, you would have to hang a sign on the door saying no service today or something like that. So and even then, we caught them in the reason we didn't one day is Ashley was going to stay in the room for a little while. We went down to the library and stuff, and Ashley just didn't want to go.
Right.
So she was going to stay in the room, so we got a hold of the housekeeper, and she gave us some fresh towels and stuff, even though she didn't do the room. So so they're really super, super friendly there.
Yeah, I would. So as far as the hotel goes, I would stay there again.
Yeah,
I would definitely stay there again.
Literally, my only complaint is I wish they'd had a little refrigerator just to stick a couple of drinks in, because you know, you buy your drinks and you want to be able to keep them cold, and there was just no way to do that. That's my only really complaint.
But it did work for us to. Ashley had recommended we take a Yeti cup. That's not the brand I had. An insulated cup. It was the best water I've ever had. Yeah, because it was so cold.
They had an ice machine and a water dispenser right down. So we just filled got the little bag out, and don't put ice directly in those buckets, by the way. Always use the bag. Put ice in the bag and put the ice in the cup and filled it with water, and it was fine. Yeah.
Somebody said, what was our favorite landmark or thing we saw?
I really like Times Square, just Times Square in general, all the lights and the shops and all that. I mean, it was just really, everything's like really compacted and right there. I mean, pretty much everything you can ever need is right there.
And I had people comment that live in New York saying that that's someplace I never go is Times Square.
Unless you've seen a show, probably.
Right. But I enjoyed seeing Times Square too. For somebody who's never been there, it is, there's like, you could just sit on those red steps. You could just sit there and just people watch and watch the ads scroll by and the advertisements for shows and just watch the buses and the cars, and I mean there's just something to see. I mean, that is the place to be to watch things.
If you're doing people watching, there's different people every day walking through there, so you're going to see something different every day. Oh yeah,
and it's just all the lights and the sounds and still the horn honking. It's so different in Kentucky. Somebody said you make Kentucky seem, they said tranquil or something driving into Kentucky. You don't hear people honk here. And when you do hear people honk, we were out yesterday.
There's only two reasons you honk in Kentucky.
What are the reasons?
You either, somebody didn't go at the red light when it turns green and they're just sitting there.
They're just sitting there.
And it usually takes a few seconds before you do it, because you don't want to do it instantly like they would in New York. Like New York, milliseconds after it changes green, people are honking.
Yeah.
In Kentucky, it's like 10, 20, 30 seconds, and then you honk. It's like, oh, well, clearly they're not watching.
Right.
So you honk then, or if somebody's about to kill you.
Yeah.
Like with their car. Getting cut off, or pulls out in front of you, or about to run you off, or that's when you honk.
So yesterday, we heard somebody honk their horn, and both of us are like, who honks?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Because it's so unusual to hear somebody honk here. Whereas in New York, it's just so common. It's like, who's even paying attention? What good does it do? You're not doing anybody any good anymore because people are so used to hearing it. It's kind of like it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. It's just a way for them to get out their frustration, I think, more than anything.
It's a way to get out their aggression.
Yeah.
Yes.
Around here, if you hear somebody honk, your first instinct is, are they honking at me? What am I doing wrong?
What did I do?
Yeah, am I not going? Is the light green? You look around and it's like, oh, it's not me.
So
I guess driving here is more tranquil.
It is. I'm not saying that.
Although everybody here runs yellow lights, so there's that.
Yes, they do. It honestly.
So when the light turns green, you just got to pause for a second and make sure nobody's zipping through a red light.
I won't go into it a whole tirade here because that's not what we're talking about. But it's a huge issue here, and they need to crack down on it because people. The yellow
light running is dangerous.
It's very dangerous, and what's bad is it's gotten to be so expected that you'll run the yellow light that people behind you will get furious if you don't run it because they can't run it.
Yeah.
I've had people behind me literally because I've really made an effort. I have made a conscious effort. I'm not going to run yellow lights anymore because it's dangerous. My children are out on the road. Do I want them to, I don't want their lives to be risked. So I've made a conscious effort. I'm going to stop. And people behind me will literally throw up their hands and have a fit.
Because they would have ran the red light.
Because they would have ran the red light. Not doing it anymore. And I really wish they would crack down on people. But in New York, it is a major, major problem. And that's why they get so congested and people do get honk and get mad because honestly, all of these people should be getting a ticket that are stuck out in the middle of the road because they couldn't get through.
They shouldn't have turned in the first place.
They shouldn't have turned in the first place.
We have that issue here too.
Yes.
Just not on that scale.
Yes. So somebody said, how did your Hocus... When we went to Florida, Kevin bought a new pair of tennis shoes, and we brought it up in passing in the Florida videos that Kevin bought these new tennis shoes, new to us. They're called Hocus, which they're not new, but they're new to us. And somebody said, how did your Hocus do with all that walking?
Oh, wonderful. Because I can tell you before, anytime I've ever been on vacation, when we walk a lot, which 20,000 steps is a lot for me. I mean, like I said, Tammy's like, I'd be lucky if you get 500.
I'm really,
I probably do get more than 5, but anyway, whatever. But not a lot more. I'm not saying I walk, trust me. But 20,000 steps is a lot. I mean, that's like running a marathon for me. So on vacation, like we would go on vacation, my back, I would have to take aspirin every day for my back.
Yeah.
Because my back would be hurting so bad. Now that could have been some of the bed too, but my back would be hurting.
Yeah.
I didn't have to take any aspirin in New York at all. I did, but just because I got a headache a couple times, but that's it. It wasn't a back pain or leg pain or lower back pain or anything. My feet never hurt. Didn't get any blisters.
No blisters.
No blisters on my feet.
Imagine if we went to Disney with those Hocus.
I'd like them. Because they're just so much more comfortable.
We
now I do have to say, my only complaint about the Hocus, and it's just something that is just going to happen because of what they're made out of. They're made out of like a meshy kind of material on the top. The upper part is a mesh. It gets dirty, so you really need to get them and clean them. And I just haven't done that. I need to clean them really good. But the mesh uppers do get dirty compared to like leather, where you can polish them and buff them and stuff. Whereas these, you have to clean them like a fabric. So super comfortable though.
Again, not about New York, but we use these videos as an opportunity to give you all, we think, things that'll be helpful to you. So I would like for you to tell people about what happened with the Hocus.
Oh, what's your ads? What's your fake ads on any platform? Instagram, Reddit, anywhere.
But you think you were watching YouTube.
I was on my computer, and I don't get on Instagram. I really don't get on. I had to been on something where an ad would have popped up.
For Hocus.
For Hocus. And so I clicked on it, and it's like 40% off. And it's like, wow, they're having a good sale. First thing that should have clued me in that it was fake was everything was 40% off. Like the whole entire website that I should have, stupid me, should have instantly gone, they're never going to put every shoe they own on sale for half off, you know? Duh.
Andrew was even here. We said to Andrew, hey, do you want a pair of tennis shoes?
Yeah, these are good shoes.
This is the time to buy them because they're on sale.
So luckily, I did it. I fell for it. You know, I consider myself pretty computer savvy when it comes to that kind of stuff. I fell for it.
And we talk about people
Tammy has fallen for stuff before too. One time we had to deal with that.
Yeah.
So
a fake Lego site. If you weren't on the channel at that time when that happened.
Yeah, it was a fake Lego site.
These sites can look.
Oh, they look. That Hocus site looked dead on their website.
They look identical to the real website, and if you're not careful, you will get taken. What I did.
And the name even sounded.
What I did, mine ad for Lego had been on Facebook. I will never, I don't care how legit the company is, I will never, ever, ever click on an ad from Facebook. I won't do it.
Well, it seems like they would be vetting their advertisers and
they
not
don't
letting
care.
just anybody in there. As long as you give them money, they'll do it.
I promise you, they do not care because I've seen ads and I know they're fake. I would not click on any of those ads, and yeah, I'm really funny when it comes to ads. That's why I don't get a lot of I think on Instagram and stuff. I don't get ads for hardly anything. I don't click on them. No.
Well, luckily I went to the site and like I said, I entered my information. So they do have my email address, but luckily I always sign up with those kind of sites with an alternate email that I don't care if I get junk on. It's just something I can log into if I need to verify a password or something, but that's it. So I gave him that address, so it's not like it's my main email address. And so anyway, I put the card in there, information, it said payment failed or something like that. And I said, well, I know it's an Apple card, so it's like, I know the payment didn't fail, that everything's correct. So, so stupid me got my debit card and said, well, maybe this will work. Because, you know, sometimes Apple's a little flaky. So I tried my debit card. That didn't work either. And I said, something's up with this. And that's when I started looking into it. Is this real? And it was fake.
It was fake.
So the good thing about when you have your debit card, that's a kind of a pain because you have to call the number. It was really easy. I just called and they said, do you think is it been lost, stolen, or compromised?
And you said
And
compromised.
I said, it's possible it could be compromised.
Yeah.
And they said, that's fine, we'll list it as compromised, we'll cancel that number, you won't have to worry about it anymore. You'll just have to go to your financial institution and get a replacement card, which I have not done yet. The Apple card though is super easy. You literally go into the app, say generate a new number, and it'll give me a new card number through the app. So I instantly got a new card number. Right? The old one's gone.
Right.
So it's super easy. So just be careful.
Be careful.
If the prices are too good to believe, then they are.
Yeah, all that to say, be careful.
Yeah, because even people that are computer savvy can fall for the stuff because it's so believable.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of cards, we used our Apple card the whole time.
Yeah, tap to pay for most of it.
Which I loved. Even at
places.
a street vendor where Kevin and Ashley got a milkshake, it was tap to pay. There was one place I know that I remember that you had to use your debit card.
Yeah, one place I had to use debit card. So what happened was underneath the steps, you can buy show tickets at a discount. Day of.
The day of. So we went there to buy show tickets and Kevin handed him the Apple card. There's no numbers on the Apple card. Yeah, it's just this metal card. And so he said, I have to have a card with a number on it. So Kevin...
Well, and I said, can I show you the number on my phone? Because it has the number, you know. And he said, no, we have to have the card.
Have to have the card. So Kevin gave him our debit card. So that was a place where you need a card.
With a number.
I do not know if they take cash or not. Somebody asked, do they take cash? I don't know because we didn't use cash there.
Yeah, we didn't use cash, yeah.
And then...
That was it. I was thinking the vendor in the truck, but you're right, we did have to pay.
Yeah, it was tap to pay.
Yeah.
So did we use cash for anything? Did we have to have cash?
It seemed like I used cash for something. Pizza. The Joe's Pizza.
Joe's Pizza.
Joe's Pizza does not accept anything except cash. And people were, I don't even know if you knew about this. So many people said, don't trust.
That's right, you told me.
Don't trust the ATM. They got an ATM machine like right outside. They said, do not trust it because so many people said they got their car what was it called, skimmed or whatever.
I think that's what it's called.
Where they put the fake thing on the top. On the
it
front,
happens all the time.
And it steals your card.
It all the time.
They said it happens constantly.
If you don't have cash when you walk in, then don't go. Just don't go that day.
Yeah.
And I was also told that I was like, why do they have the security guy? They have the security guy because that's all they take is cash.
Oh, so they're going to have a lot.
They
of
don't
cash.
want to get robbed. I said, well, hopefully he has a Glock on him or something. But, hopefully he can defend himself, because what good is he if he doesn't have a firearm?
Well, so many people said don't use the ATM outside.
Yeah. So don't even go there. Okay.
Yeah, don't go.
Don't go. Just don't go there.
It's not worth the money or the trip.
Yeah, if you're going there, that's a problem. Yeah. So we shouldn't have gone there. So somebody said, somebody wanted to know what was our favorite food. And I'm not counting dessert food. This is like meals, like dinner food, like real food. I can tell you, for me and Ashley, our favorite place, and we would go back there again, was called Brooklyn Diner.
Was that where I got the hot dog?
That was where you got a hot dog.
Honestly, that was probably my favorite restaurant.
It was nice.
I would just order something different.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it was just a hot dog.
Yeah, the food was good. Don't get me wrong, but mine was just literally just a big ass hot dog.
It was.
But it was just a hot dog. It wasn't anything special.
It was called a
15 bite hot dog or something like that.
It was huge.
But it wasn't a sausage or anything. It wasn't anything fancy. But so I would have gotten, your sandwiches looked really, really good.
Really good.
And I like the atmosphere and everything. So I probably would say there, I would just get something different.
Right.
Mine would probably, as far as the food I actually did eat, I would probably say Junior's. I really liked the food at Junior's. But I'm thinking Ashley didn't necessarily like the food at Junior's.
Well, Ashley got the turkey and
she ate it, but she said it wasn't she probably wouldn't get it again.
She wouldn't get it again. And as far as
their dessert,
they were
okay. That's right. They were kind of eh.
It wasn't as good as the Cheesecake Factory.
No,
it wasn't. The cheesecake. If you're going there, everybody says Junior's Cheesecake, or they're famous for their cheesecake.
Yeah,
that must have been before the Cheesecake Factory, or those people must not have been to the Cheesecake Factory. Because once you've had the Cheesecake Factory,
that's true.
I promise you won't go back to Junior's for cheesecake.
That's true, because it wasn't as good.
No. Yeah. So for I was going to tell you the worst place, the place that I hated. Was the Joe's Pizza.
Yeah, I would never go.
I would never go there again.
It would be different if you went to all that trouble and the heat and the funkiness and the walk and all that stuff. If it was awesome pizza.
It's not.
We get the...
Even if I lived next door and it was that easy to get, I wouldn't go there because it wasn't...
It just wasn't anything.
No.
I've had better frozen pizzas.
Oh, of course.
For $1.25 in the microwave than that pizza.
Yeah, it's just nothing. I don't know.
I don't know why that's so popular.
No.
Well, it's popular because celebrities been there, but I don't know why the celebrities, maybe they were drunk or something, or maybe they just literally went in and got their picture taken and never actually ate the pizza.
Yeah, because maybe they didn't eat it.
Because they got the picture taken with the celebrities, but we don't know what the celebrities thought afterwards. They may have hated it.
They may have hated it and didn't say. And that's why I was telling you earlier about people on Instagram. It's like, okay, they're showing you, oh, look what I got this from this company. They sent me this. But they're not telling you it didn't actually taste good. Yeah, it didn't taste good. So I think that's what happened with Joe's Pizza.
So are you mentioning food?
Yes.
Let me talk about Liberty. The reason I picked Liberty Bagel. First of all, we knew the area we were going to be in. Like Tammy said, we always look at the areas we're in, and then we try to get things that are going to be in that area. So I looked up top 10 bagel places in New York or whatever it was.
And that's how I found Joe's Pizza. I did a Google search of the top pizza in, well-known doesn't, I've learned, well-known doesn't mean good.
Yeah, right.
There's a difference.
And Tammy also made a mistake because she didn't actually look at pictures of the food. Yeah, and Ashley's like, why didn't you look at pictures of the food?
Ashley said, now I know. Ashley said you always want
to look at the pictures. And I did. I did look at the pictures. So when I did a search for top 10, Liberty Bagel was on the list on every website I looked at in the probably the top 5, honestly. And we were going to be up there with it. And everybody, even on those lists, they weren't just Instagrammers taking pictures. They were actually people that said this is won the top bagel in 2022 or whatever. It was the top rated bagel. Now, could that have been Instagrammers voting? Yeah, but I don't know that. I'm just looking at a list. One guy even wrote an article saying that it was his favorite bagel place, so, whatever. So I looked at pictures. They looked like nice bagels. They had all this different flavors of cream cheese piled up. They said the flavors were good. The reviewers all said the flavors of the cream cheeses were good. And it's like, okay, the bagels look good size and they look good. The cream cheeses, they got tons of flavors to choose from. So you and me and Ashley are going to find something we like. And so let's go, and it was going to be in the area we were in. So that's why we went there. Because all the other top bagel places were in places that we were not going to be anywhere near during that time. So that's why I picked it. It had nothing to do with, I did see where the Rainbow one was the most Instagram bagel in New York, but that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care. So what? Who cares?
Yeah.
So why I picked it was because it was on a list, not because of Instagrammers. And I'm surprised Ashley didn't even try a bagel. She got something weird and didn't like it.
She got a chicken parmesan panini, and she didn't like that.
It was a ground up chicken patty texture is what she didn't like.
Did you like your bagel?
It was an okay. It was no better than a Lindor bagel, or is it Lindor?
No, it's like Thompson.
Anyway,
Thomas's.
Any bagel you go in the grocery store and just buy a bagel in the bags, it was the same difference. I used to get bagels in Lexington that were 100 times better. From a bagel place in Lexington.
Yeah, it just, everybody's going to always have their own opinion, and everybody's always going to think that their place is better than other places, and their area is better than other areas. I have just learned I am not a bagel person. If I'm going to spend this many calories on this bagel, I would rather have something else. That's just my opinion. You can eat all that bagel all day long, because what you eat don't make me fat. But that's just, it's a difference of opinion.
I thought it was an okay bagel. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would never go there again. No, I would never go there again. I think it's,
It was way too busy and way too long of a wait for what you got. So
okay. So then our favorite place we visited, we already talked about. I wanted to add too, besides Times Square, one of my favorite places to visit too was Rockefeller Center. And
that was neat.
It's not that there was like anything to do right there, but look and take pictures and stuff. It's just iconic. Yeah. I enjoyed getting to see.
Just the fact that you were there.
I was there. I was, Macaulay Culkin was here.
Filming something.
I was there, and it made me feel good that I was there too. Yeah.
And also, like the FAO Schwartz, that was kind of cool.
I loved getting to go walk around FAO Schwartz. I think, honestly, that was probably one of Ashley's favorite stores.
She spent more time in there than anywhere.
Yes, and she was happy and joyful, and I think as far as stores go, that was probably one of my favorite stores too.
That and is it the MoMA gift shop?
Oh yeah, the MoMA gift shop. She was.
Yeah, it was a nice gift
happy
shop.
there. I was too.
The Metropolitan.
But as far as actual stores go, now
that
I'm thinking about it, I probably liked FAO Schwartz the best too. As far as like a store, like a gift type shop store.
If you took away Times Square, my second place would probably be the museum, but it is so big. So you're not going to see it all in a day. There's no way you could see all that in a day.
No, you could spend all day. So we could go, let's do this, and then we'll talk about our top 3 things that we did. So our favorite shows. Kevin and I agree on our order. Our order would be, our favorite show was Moulin Rouge. If you don't care where you sit, then you could get tickets much cheaper. We're going to give you the price. You're going to fall out of your chair.
For all of them except Aladdin.
You're going to get much cheaper if you go to that ticket booth underneath the red steps in Times Square.
It's ran by Ticketmaster, by the way. That's what the bill came in.
But this was our favorite. This was mine and Kevin's favorite show.
It was really nice.
We all 3 agree Aladdin was the second favorite show. It was absolutely fantastic.
They did a really good job of doing everything.
Somebody told me in comments that The Lion King, same thing. It's just as good, has just as many costume changes.
Cool.
The backdrops, all that, or the singing, all that is
So
just,
the
as
production's
good
just as good.
for The Lion King, and I believe it.
Yeah.
Mine and Kevin's third favorite show was Chicago. I thought they did a great job, but it was our third favorite. I
hate to say it, for me, it was no better, and this is probably going to insult someone, I know. That was no better than a college production that we could go to University of Kentucky and watch college students perform.
I agree. But this was Ashley's favorite.
Yeah.
And I think the reason this was Ashley's favorite, I think some of it had to do with, this is big from her childhood.
Yeah, she watched Chicago all the time.
She watched it like constantly.
The movie.
She knows the movie. She knows all the words to the songs. And so it holds a special place for her. Whereas Moulin Rouge,
it was so overproduced and
listen, it was absolutely phenomenal.
It was over the top.
It was it was
it was literally over the top.
Absolutely wonderful. And even before it started, see, you couldn't film anything, so the
only thing you could film was the empty theater stage before anything happened.
So once they get to a certain time, they tell you
it was like a pre-show.
They tell you, you're not to have your cameras out. You're not allowed to take any pictures.
And they will come yell at you.
Oh, yes. They will take lights and shine. And I know during Aladdin.
During Moulin Rouge, somebody started doing that. And she walked down and shined her light. And she said, no, no, no.
Yeah. And during Aladdin, when they did that magic carpet ride in Aladdin,
and people wanted to film,
they were shining their flashlights on people because it's like, we've told you not to. I think, like I've said, there's always one in the crowd. Yeah. Why would you do that? They've told you this is the rules. Well,
it's also funny that they knew people would do it during that scene, because right before that scene, they all walked down to the front to watch.
They were ready.
Yeah.
I personally, this is my belief. I think they should make an announcement at the beginning. If we catch you filming or taking pictures, you will have to leave. Period. I don't care if you've paid hundreds of dollars for your ticket, you will be asked to leave.
Yeah.
And period. I don't think they should play around with that. And that way you scare people and they don't do it. If it happened a couple of times, then people wouldn't do it anymore. There's not enough consequences these days.
Of course, then you got people arguing, I'm not leaving, and right in the middle of the show and stuff. So
there needs to be.
They could be micro lockers where you just lock your stuff up in these lockers outside.
There just needs to be.
There should be, but that would cause a whole other.
But anyway,
but Chicago was good. I don't want you to think I don't think it was good.
It was good.
I like the singing. I like the stories of the story. But I just think the production value was very low key. It was just like the band was there. The band fills up 80% of the stage.
Yes. And they're there from start to finish.
Yeah, and they do use the bandstand a little bit for part of the actual show, but for the most part, that's the biggest part. And then you got the sides and the front. That's really where all the acting happens. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it just wasn't my kind of thing. I would not spend money to go see it.
I wouldn't go see it again, but I'm grateful.
If you're interested in it, go for it.
Yeah, I'm grateful that we went. Some people ask, why didn't we see Wicked or other things? We've seen Wicked before.
We've seen Wicked.
Yeah, we've seen it before, and so that's why we didn't go see it. If I went back, I would probably go see Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, although I'd probably see Harry Potter.
We would probably see Harry Potter if we'd stayed.
Maybe The Lion King.
I would like to see the one that's coming up. I think it was in September. Our Town with Jim Parsons.
It was right across from our hotel.
Yes.
Literally, you could walk out of our hotel and walk straight across the street, and that's where it was going to be.
It was called the Barrymore Theater, I think, where it's going to be. And if you're interested, then I would start looking at tickets now.
Oh yeah, I'd buy them now because I'd say they'll sell out.
But that would be something that I would absolutely love to see. So yeah, if we had been there longer, we would have seen more. Mm-hmm. But then the last.
And if you don't care about where you're going to sit at, because honestly, anywhere you sit, you're going to see and hear the show.
Yeah.
It may not be the perfect seat, but you're going to see and hear everything. So just go to that ticket place if you don't mind doing that.
What I was going to tell you about Moulin Rouge, and somehow I got off of it. I know why I got off of it, because I was talking about people taking pictures of video. At the beginning, before the show even starts,
the pre-show.
There's a pre-show, and there's people coming out,
And they get this music
there's
playing.
this kind of erotic music.
Oh, 100%. The way they move and everything is very erotic.
It's very erotic, and it's very like, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was awesome. But there's people that come out and they're dressed in various clothing and
not clothing.
And it was just,
there was no nudity though.
There's no nudity at all. But it's just, you're not used to seeing this. And I thought I loved from start to finish, it was just fantastic.
Well, I mean, if you think about what Moulin Rouge was, it was a place you went and just to be free and do whatever you wanted to.
If I ever visited France, I would go to Moulin Rouge. I would go to the real Moulin Rouge in a heartbeat, and I would absolutely eat that up. I would love that. But somebody asked me one more question, and then we'll get into the prices. Somebody said, would you choose London or New York? You can go again. You have the money right now to go to either one. Which one are you choosing?
I'd probably go to London.
I'd go to London.
Yeah.
I would go to London, and I just jotted down a couple of my reasons why. I don't know what Kevin would say. I think I like it that all the museums are free in London.
Yeah, the cost is definitely, to do things, is cheaper in a lot of cases.
Yes, so I think we paid $30 a ticket for one museum. I think another one might have been $30 or $40, something like that. You know, I think it's
no, two of them were $30. They were $30 a piece.
Okay, and I think it's interesting that over here,
$30 per person.
Yeah, per person. So over here, we're charging people to go in museums. We're over there. It's available.
It's part of the National Trust. So basically the government's
It's available to everybody though.
Yeah.
So no matter how rich, how poor, everybody can enjoy the museum. And that's the way it should be, I think. And so for me, that's a draw. I also wrote down, of course, London is older. They have more history. The architecture, the buildings. New York has some absolutely stunning buildings. But I think I love the history of London. In my opinion, London is just more beautiful. And I'm speaking specifically about London because somebody asked me about London. So that's why I'm not like different parts of the UK, because we've traveled all over. People are like, you need to travel more than just to London. Well, we have. We've been all over the place. Yeah, watch the videos. We've been all over. But, you know, I just think in London, for my eyes, is more beautiful. I think London is cleaner.
Well, even one of the New York guys said, you know, there's two things that's bad about New York: the crowds and it's dirty.
Yeah, he lives there.
He lives there.
There is no marijuana smell in London. I never smelled the marijuana any time that we were on any of our trips to London. I've never smelled marijuana. When you walk in Times Square, you need to know that the whole place, every day, no matter if it's in the morning
just walking down the street
or night, you are going to smell marijuana all day long. And your children, you know, if you've got them with you, people don't care. If you care, you may not care. Somebody was walking in front of us, some woman just walking down the street like she was going to her job or whatever, and she had smoking a joint in her hand. And it's like, well, what if I was walking behind her and I had my little grandchild or my child? And well, they don't care. You know, they just don't care. That's something that we do not experience where we are. It is not legal here, so you don't get people walking out on the street with...
You smell it occasionally, but not like that.
It's usually
not
on
fresh.
People in Walmart. Yeah. It's not out on the street.
It's not fresh.
I'm not saying you won't smell it on somebody that passes you in Walmart. I feel safer in London. I did not at any point feel unsafe. Yeah. I did not, and I wouldn't want anybody to think that. I did not at any point feel unsafe in New York at all. It was a little, it did bother me when I walked in the stores and I saw stuff locked up. It was like reality set in.
Yeah, there's a reason it's locked up.
That's right. and when I would go into CVS and I would see Nutella or
dental floss or stuff
dental
like that.
floss behind a glass, it's like, why did they have to do this? Again, we go back to there needs to be stronger punishments, but it's behind bars for a reason, behind glass for a reason, lock and key. It's not like that here. But the last time we were in London, I've never seen that. I've never seen that anywhere else.
No, literally nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Yeah, Vegas, Hawaii, any of those places.
Never have I seen things behind glass like that.
Never been to just normal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the alcohol sometimes will be locked up, but nothing like regular
I
daily
truly
stuff.
believe we need much firmer penalties in our country. It's not as crowded in London. I don't think
No, it wasn't nearly. I mean, some areas of London are crowded, but not that crowded.
Not that crowded.
As bad.
I don't have never seen as many homeless people in London.
Not in London. There are some. I mean, there's people begging in the streets and stuff like that occasionally.
Yes, absolutely. Like outside
the tube stations almost every day. You see people.
Yeah, like they're there in the morning. Like that's their job is to sit there. They know
people are going to work. They know they're going to be coming in and out of there.
Like that has become their job is to sit there, and they make sure they get up and they're up and at them, and that's their spot, and they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
So you do see it, but we saw more of that in New York.
Yeah, we did.
But not as many as in Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii's much
Hawaii
worse.
has had the most homeless. So I wouldn't want people to think I'm picking on New York. That's just what this video is about. So the most homeless people we've ever seen is in Hawaii.
They got a bad issue there.
But for those reasons, I would choose London. Do you have anything else to add to that?
I also think that getting around, I don't know. We like we've said, we really didn't take the subway, and we could have.
We could have. We didn't need to. Though.
We just didn't need to because we didn't need to. There was nowhere we needed to go outside. The thing about London is things are kind of spread out sometimes, and you have to travel there. The bus tours in London are better. They cover more area.
Yes.
The big bus, because we did big bus in both London and in New York. The big bus in London covers a bigger portion of the city than New York. Because New York was literally it was really almost a square.
It's small.
It's a rectangle.
It's a small,
and then if you wanted to go anywhere else, you had to pay additional money to go somewhere else. Whereas in London, it was just one fee. So the bus tour was better. And I don't know. It's just, like you said, I would not have wanted to. Well, we got up in New York and walked in the morning and did it. But in London, we got up in the morning. We would walk all the way around to like Tower Bridge and hit the markets and all. I mean, I don't know. It just felt more like I was living there. And New York, it was more like I was visiting there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was. I know that sounds silly, but that's just kind of. It's more of a. You could live here vibe in London, whereas in New York it was more of a, I wouldn't want to live here, but I can visit here.
Right, exactly. I have had people actually comment, this has happened, not just one person, but many people have commented in the past, if you like London, because we've been to London like 3 times, if you love London, you'll love New York. I don't agree with that. I don't think
different.
I don't think you can compare them at all. I think they're I think it's a totally different experience.
The only thing they have in common is they're both big cities.
That's it. And it's a different type of big city. It's a different type of vibe. And it's so different. Whereas in London, people like when you take those tubes, and I'm sure it would be like this in the subway too, but people, and even somebody commented on that when they were in New York, you saw a lot of people in business suits and a lot of people were dressed nice. In London, that you do see more of that. Like in the city, you see more people that are dressed in
you very
suits.
seldom see t-shirts and shorts.
No, you don't know at all. So like, yes, you would be underdressed, I feel like. And that's mainly what you did see in New York was people were very dressed down and they were very casual.
Depends on where you're at too.
Or in London, they're very like wearing at least a very crisp dress shirt and dress pants.
Like Friday casual.
They're dressed nice in London. They look very sharp. Whereas in New York, they just don't, you don't see a lot of that.
That's the difference between American and European
In
dress
general,
too. Yeah.
in general, yes, I do think that they dress sharper.
Yeah.
Even, we've talked about it before, even the airlines. If you take Virgin, those...
Or British Airways.
Yes, those people working on those planes look sharp. From head to toe, they look sharp. And here, they still look nice. They still are very presentable.
But not overly.
But not sharp. Like, it's the difference in seeing a soldier at Buckingham Palace and then like seeing an officer here. It's two totally different things. You can't compare it. And I personally like that level of sharpness, I like that. So anyway, that's why,
Yeah, they really can't be compared. They're two different
You
things.
can't compare them. They're not comparable.
The foods are different.
I disagree with people.
The whole dining experience.
That if you like this one, you'll love that. I don't agree with that.
The whole dining experience is so different because here it's more restaurants, whereas over there it's more laid back pub type atmospheres. They don't, they've got, chain pubs. They do have chain pubs, but it's still more of a laid back pub atmosphere. They don't have a restaurant atmosphere where it's a big dining room and that's not what we ever ate in LA.
Right.
I'm sure they have them. We just never went into
So
them.
it's just different.
So many things are different.
But it's interesting that you would choose London too.
I would. Out of the two, if I were to choose one of those two, I'd probably choose London.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, this is the part you've all been waiting for. Courtney gave us a total. So Courtney gave us initial money for
to help with airfare in the hotel.
Right, but then she ended up adding more money for
helping pay for a show.
Right. So she ended up giving us. What she did was she sent. Ashley has Venmo. We don't have Venmo. Ashley has Venmo. And so Courtney sent $5 to Ashley's Venmo just to make sure it worked. Once she figured out it worked, then she sent more money. So the total that Courtney sent was $4,005.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Yes. We are eternally grateful.
Yeah.
So you can take it from here.
Okay, I'm just going to go through the lines that I have. So our flight, we're talking about 3 people, 3 adults. And we flew Delta. We like Delta. We get Delta Plus, which is a little bit better than like regular class, but it's not as fancy as first class.
So people have said you could have gone a lot cheaper. Sure, you can do that if you go.
Yeah, and we're also flying out of a small airport to leave, so we could get cheaper. A lot of people said, "Oh, you can get cheaper. Just fly out of Cincinnati." I'm not driving 2 hours to Cincinnati to fly out. I'd rather spend a little bit more money. Or drive to Louisville, which is a bigger airport. I'm just not going to do that. So we're leaving from Lexington, Kentucky.
And think about it, at the end of your trip, when you get home after being gone, do you want to drive all the way 2 hours or 3 hours back home after this long trip? We don't want to.
Yeah. So it does cost more to leave out of Lexington too, because we've looked at the difference in prices, and it was a couple $100 per person more to go out of Lexington than it would have been to go out of Louisville or Cincinnati.
But you decide that for you.
Yeah, you do what you want to do. Don't complain how we do it though. That's why I'm saying all that, because people say, basically, you are stupid for paying that much money. We choose to do it that way. You do you.
You spend your money your way. We'll spend ours our way.
So the total for 3 of us was $3,410.85. That's with all the fees, taxes, and all that stuff added too. So that's how much we actually
for 3 adults.
For 3 adults, we did have to pay coming and going checked bags. You have to pay for the baggage now. It was $210 for the check going there and checking coming back. But that was for, did we do 3 bags? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 bags.
3 big
one
bags,
each.
Yeah.
So that was the check baggage. And like I said, you used to get those free. You used to get 1 free at least. Mm-hmm. They don't do that anymore. At least not with Delta. The Hotel Edison, right on Times Square, walk to pretty much any Broadway show you wanted to.
Yeah.
It was $2,156.44 for what were we there, 7 days, 6 days, something like that. That was for our stay. The taxi from the airport to the hotel was $98.88, and like I said, it's a flat rate of $75, but they can add a little bit more for congestion fees and taxes and stuff. So it ends up being $100. The car we took from the hotel back to JFK was $106.99. Both of those were still cheaper than Uber was going to charge, which I'm thinking, like I said, don't hold me to it. I'm almost positive Uber was going to be like $140. I think that stands out of my mind because I looked it up. You can go to the app and see how much it's going to cost you, and that's how much it was going to be. Because we had to have a bigger, like a van, because we had 3 big bags. Airport parking, if you have to park your car long term, at least in Lexington, it was $80.56 just to park the car for the week.
Ashley's Jeep.
Yeah. The trip expenses, just the total for all of that, for just the actual travel and getting there and staying, was $6,063.72. So that's how much you had to spend that much to get there.
What do you mean?
To get
that
there.
That was the airline?
Airline, baggage, room, taxis, parking, the things. If we didn't spend anything else on food or anything else.
Just the base price.
The base price was $6,063.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then everything else was like add-on stuff. So we did the show.
Okay.
So Chicago was 3 people again, $526.50.
For all 3.
For all 3.
Okay.
I'm going to say Aladdin next because we did Aladdin. We got that through that Ticketmaster the day of.
This was the cheap ticket.
Yeah, and we had good seats. You just can't pick your seats. They pick your seats for you. It was only $387.30. So just what, $120 per person? That's cheap.
That's cheap.
That's dirt cheap. Yes. Because I'm going to make you pass out right now.
Yeah, we're going to blow your mind.
Moulin Rouge for 3 people, $1,030.86 for 3 people for a 2.5 hour show.
Yeah, but
it was well produced though.
It was our favorite. It was our favorite. So for me,
so do you think that was money well spent?
I think it was money well spent. However, if I went again and wanted to see it again, I would go under the steps.
I would do the ticket thing. Yeah. Although I think there's some seats up at the top. We were in the front row of the balcony in the top. If you were to be further back in that balcony, there's things you would not have been able to see on that stage.
I agree.
A lot of things you wouldn't have been able to see on that stage.
Yes.
Because they would come, you would have been able to see the main stage, but they had like little small sub stages like up front.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have been able to see that.
No, because I had to kind of look down to see them. If you were even a couple rows back from us, there's no way you could see that.
Yeah.
You would see the main stage, but you wouldn't be able to see those.
It's a beautiful theater. It's the Hirschfeld Theater.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's very beautiful.
So anyway, you do pay for them, but just be careful where you're sitting. I don't think I would sit in the balcony unless you're in the front row. I said that one. The MoMA, that's the
Museum of Modern Art.
Museum of Modern Art. That was $90 for all 3. It was $30 per person, and so was the Met, the Metropolitan Museum
of Art.
Mm-hmm. What's the Met stand for? Metropolitan Museum of.
It's the Metropolitan Museum.
The Met is Metropolitan. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was that was $90 as well. So it's $30 per person. The Big Bus Tour, we did the 1 day, the Red Line Tour. It was $174 for all 3 of us. But that was on all day, hop on, hop off, from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night. So it doesn't run like really late. They have a late night tour if you want to do that one. You have to pay extra for it.
And in London, you could have gone during the day or night.
They did have they stayed out later. They did. Yeah, because I remember being there. We rode at night.
Yeah, we rode at night. Yeah. It was wonderful.
And then the only other thing we did was a rickshaw ride that Tammy and Ashley did, and they loved it. They said it was the best $45 they ever spent.
Yeah.
It is negotiable though.
It is, because he wanted 60 at first.
Yeah, he started with 60, and Ashley was like, "No, that's too much. I don't want to do that."
He honestly, he deserved 60, but we didn't.
Well, you ended up paying.
We ended up giving him a lot more than 45.
Yeah, so I think you had probably ended up with pretty close to 60.
It was pretty close to 60 that we gave him anyway. We didn't have that much cash on us at that time, but he ended up almost getting $60. I think.
Just know that the rickshaw, most of the time, they're taking you from one place to another. So like if you
had taxi.
So if we'd gotten up to it and you wanted to go to Juniors, they would have taken you to Juniors. Instead, you said, we just want to circle Times Square. And he said, that's when he said 60, and then they worked it out. So, so if you don't have a destination, just say you want to circle Times Square, and they'll do that.
Right.
So the total for like entertainment was $2,343. Okay. Which is probably about what you'd spend in like Vegas. If you went to Vegas shows and stuff, you're going to spend at least that much for a Vegas show. So that's pretty cool. Souvenirs. We spent about $94 in souvenirs, just stuff to either t-shirts and things like that. So the total with all of that stuff added up, our whole trip total was $9,555.
Where did you put food prices? Was that souvenir? No,
I did. Oh, here it is. I just didn't say it. Food prices, we spent $798 in just food.
Just restaurants.
Restaurants, and that doesn't include review food.
No.
That's just food we ate while we were there.
Yeah.
So $708, and that, sorry, I thought that I had that somewhere else, but I must I put it in there. So with food, the trip expenses, the attractions, the souvenirs, that does include souvenirs, and the restaurants, it was $9,655. So a little less than $10,000.
Right, but with Courtney's money, we if you take away the $4,000, we only ended up paying $5,650.
Yeah.
So for a week in New York with 3 shows and all the museums and the food and everything we did, for us to only spend that much money, it was a wonderful vacation.
And really, there's some things you could change. Like you could get cheaper flights if you wanted to deal with that. You could do the day of show tickets, and if you're not really picky about what show you watch either, because not every show is available.
Not every show's available,
they may have already sold out.
Yeah.
The museums, if you want to do that, go for it. Just know that you do have to pay for them. But if you didn't want to do it, that's money you would save.
It's money you would save. Yeah, you could save money. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning things that you could not. If you didn't want to do the bus tour, you could take subways and stuff down to places and get to places that would probably be overall cheaper, but we like the idea of having areas. And you could definitely drop, you wouldn't have to do souvenirs and stuff. And the restaurants you go to, you could go to cheaper places and restaurants.
Oh yeah, you could. I mean, they have McDonald's.
Because we didn't worry about what we were on vacation. We go to places that just sound interesting to us, and we buy what we want.
We buy what we want. We're on vacation. I don't care about calories or anything like that, or how much it costs, because it's vacation money. Vacation money is different than everyday money here.
Calories.
Like I would never even dream of spending that much money on a show here.
No.
But I was willing to do it there because I knew this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Broadway show, an actual on-Broadway show.
Yeah, I probably will never get to do this again. So I'm willing to do it there where I'm not willing to do it here. But I wanted us to I would like to say my top 3 things of the trip, and then you can say your top 3 things of the trip.
Okay.
My top 3 things is going to be the show's number 1.
I agree.
That is my number 1 thing. Like my favorite thing about visiting New York would be the shows.
Yeah. If you had the money, you could literally just fly in, see a show or 2, and then leave.
Yes,
that would be.
Absolutely.
I mean, that would be fine.
Absolutely. My number 2 thing is going to be that rickshaw ride.
I didn't do.
I've never done anything like that before. And Ashley and I were laughing or smiling and just having the time of our life in the moment. That's like the most I've laughed and the most fun.
And that could have a lot to do with your rickshaw driver too.
Yes.
I'm sure it did.
From start to finish. His name was Wally, or that's what it sounded like to me that he said.
I don't think it was, but
well, Ashley said it sounded like that, but we're not sure. He was absolutely fantastic. I do think it depends on your driver.
I mean, the chance of you finding that rickshaw driver would be very slim because there's so many of them.
But anyway, that was number 2 for me, and then number 3. Now, this isn't including just seeing the sights, because I literally enjoyed seeing the sights, but I'm going to say just getting to experience the museums.
Yeah. Mine would be the shows first and foremost, because they're all, even the Chicago was still well done. I'm not saying it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't my favorite. So the shows.
It didn't have the production that the other ones had.
Right, yeah.
The backdrops and all that
stuff.
I
mean, most of their props were chairs. I mean, literally.
Yes.
So, when you go from like flying carpets and caves that come out of the ground. I mean, when you got that kind of production, or
when you have women in lingerie,
Moulin Rouge, it's a sight for the eyes. I mean, for sure.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Then you get Chicago, which is 90%, like I said, chairs was their main.
Yes.
Their thing. I'm not complaining.
I think people understand.
So anyway, but it shows me, number one, just seeing Times Square, where that's been like an icon from when we were children, growing up, watching the ball drop from, when I was an infant, watching it on
Dick
TV.
Clark.
Being actually be able to stand where all that's happened and actually see
the ball. You see it.
Because up on top of one of the buildings, I would have thought, and
I did too, that they took it away.
I would have thought once the ball dropped, they just took all that junk away and it was just a building.
Yeah.
No, it's still there. It still has the year there. It's not lit up, but they still had the year there and everything.
Well, like at Rockefeller Center, they take away the Christmas tree.
I would have take away the ice skating.
I would have thought for New Year's, they would have taken away the ball.
Yeah, once that's over.
Who knew it was still there? I thought that was cool too, though. Yeah.
So that was cool. And I agree. The museum's really nice. I wish the price was a little cheaper. But I'd
like for everybody to be able to go like they do in London.
But I understand why they have to charge, because it's a different governance system in the UK. The UK has a national trust that literally the government helps fund historical sites in general, whether it be an old historic castle or whatever. So the government is helping subsidize that museum. They also take donations in those museums too, so you can drop money in there if you want to. It's just not required.
Right.
Whereas the museums here is required. In America, we put our values in different things.
You're right.
And the museums and the art in general is not one of those high on our list things our government supports. They do in the UK. That's all you can say.
Yeah.
So the museums, I agree that really did like that. If I had to do a kind of like a runner up, it would probably be just walking through Central Park. It was kind of neat. I mean, it was just a big park. I mean, it really wasn't as fancy as I thought it was going to be.
People have said in the comments, so I've gotten a couple of comments that say, "Oh, I would love to visit Central Park." It is truly just...
It's a grassy area with paths.
Which it's like we have parks just like that. Yeah. The only difference in Central Park is it has more monuments, more like statues.
Yeah, and they've got that big fountain and the little...
Because we have parks... I love the fountain. Bethesda. Yeah. I love seeing Bethesda. But we have parks here as well with monuments that are just as pretty.
Yeah.
We've lived in the Bluegrass State, so it's beautiful here. But it's just bigger in New York. So for me, seeing Central Park was like... It's what I thought it would be. Yeah.
It was still neat to do it. That's what I'm saying.
It was neat to say I've been there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it wasn't like any
It wasn't like earth-shattering.
Yeah.
No, really for us, once we went there once, it was really just a place to cut through. It was just, it wasn't anything to really look at.
Yes, it's like, and if I live there, I can see...
Taking your kids and running around and stuff, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
That's really the only grassy spot around, so you kind of have to go there.
Have to. Yeah, there's literally no grass.
Yeah, we're not used to that. There's grass everywhere here.
Yeah, when you're in the city, you're in the city, and there is no grass.
I do have to say, London also has more. We talked about some of the differences. They have more green
They do
spaces.
have more green spaces.
It seems like they have more green spaces.
Yeah, that is another thing. They do.
So yeah, I just think as like a runner-up, just saying that I've been to Central Park was cool.
Yeah, I like being able to say that I did it.
And I've been on Fifth Avenue. And I've been on Broadway.
Yes.
And all those places.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a wonderful trip. And like I said, if Courtney had not come to us and said, I want to do this, it would have been years and years and years before we would have ever visited. Yeah. And I'm glad we got to visit now in this moment where we're still young enough to enjoy it and do all the walking, because you never know if you can afford to take a trip, then you should take a trip while you can, because you don't know what next year's going to bring.
That's the bad thing, is when you're young and really can enjoy it,
you can't afford it.
You can't afford it, or you got kids.
We couldn't afford to go anywhere when we were younger.
So when you get older and you can't walk as far, you can afford it, but you can't go. You can't do it.
That's when you see the old people getting the sports cars, because that's when they can afford it. But yeah, I would not, if you have the money, I wouldn't keep saving and saving and saving, because you just don't know what's going to happen. happen, and so you want to be able to enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
So we're very eternally grateful to Courtney.
Yeah. And like I said at the beginning, we're also very appreciative of Patreon and YouTube members as
because
well.
That helps pay.
They contribute to everything as well.
Yeah,
every month they're paying a money into the system. So.
Yes, so like when I went to Hershey's Chocolate World and bought candy bars and stuff like that, that's with Patreon money. That is with YouTube money. You know, when we did stuff like that, when we buy stuff like that, that is, we're bringing those candy bars home and reviewing them for the channel. And so you all have helped fund that. So, and those people did get special videos.
Yeah.
I made sure that I posted special.
We're trying to give them something.
Yes.
For their money.
so even now that we're home, if you're on Patreon or you're on YouTube, even if it's just a picture every day, a video every day, I try to post something every day for those people.
But as a caveat to that, if you can't afford that, we would never expect you to spend your money if you can't afford it.
No, absolutely.
Watching the videos, the longer you watch, the better it is.
And give it a thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up. Leaving comments, subscribing to us. That's all we would really ask.
Yes.
And if you can go the extra mile and you've got the money to spare and you want to support us in other ways, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just extra.
Right. So
we don't love you that if you don't send us money any less.
No. No, that's right. So thank you for watching all the videos. If we've talked about anything, if you caught this on YouTube and you are interested, then all these videos are on there, as well as other vacations. Like I said, our London vacation, Disney vacations, cruises.
If you want to leave questions and stuff below in this video about New York or any of the places, really, we can try to answer them later. We may not know the answer, but we can try. And because we do vlogs every week, and some of those vlogs we just sit down and talk, so we can answer some of those questions during those. And
some of you may wonder, just to end this too, you may wonder, is Courtney happy with giving us with the outcome? I think she is. She has left many comments. She has told me that she loved the videos and she's enjoyed them, and I sent her pictures, personal pictures, like while we were there. Every single day, I'm thinking while we were there, she did not ask for that, but I wanted to send her pictures like, this is where we are and stuff like that, you know, and she, for goodness sake, she deserved it. But I did that too. So I think she's very happy with everything. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you next time.